Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today we're going to review together Chanel's Haute Couture Fall Winter 2022/2023 fashion show / collection. What is Virginie Viard up to this season? The questions are bubbling. Are we going to get the answers though? First, subscribe to my channel here on the tubes. Push the join button next to the subscription button and become a member today. Gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream every Saturday and you're all welcome to join and partake in the chats. Now I have my co-chatters with me. However, I'm going to blast the full show here on the screen, so we can't blend in the chats, but I'll be reading your chats. You guys, we're going to watch the video that I've taken directly from Chanel's YouTube channel. The fashion show is from Chanel's YouTube channel, so it does fall under fair use because we will be reviewing it. However, I have changed the music and I will be using copyright-free music on top of the show because the music that they used copywritten. Anyway, all right, here we'll go, you guys. Let's enjoy and let us comment about everything that we see. All right, so we're pushing for this weird mod moment, but also 80s. Yes, Virginie Viard is going still into the 80s somehow, although I want to say this could be also late 70s. But anyway, so this green little ensemble opens up the show, and a lot of people have been talking about this green ensemble. I'm like, really? This is not the moment for me. I mean, cute cut and trim, interesting colorway. It's kind of like an orange, but also a brown. But the green piece, like, I don't know. What was it? Like an homage to Virgil Abloh? My girl, you're like a couple of seasons too late for that. But anyway, so this is a very, very, very Karl Lagerfeld moment. This actually seems like something Karl designed a couple of seasons ago while he was still alive. But, you know, it is a winter collection. The coat is interesting with the slits. We've seen Virginie do this already last winter, and the dress was then worn by Penelope Cruz at the Venice Film Festival, but the dress had the slits on the sides in black and white, a little bit more interesting than this year's version. I'm liking the combination of the grays with the greens and that hat. It is giving me 80s vibes, and I don't mind this. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, boring, fashion is dead. And I do agree in many cases, fashion is dead and it's just over the top. But I know I'm repeating myself when I say this every season with Virginie Viard's Haute Couture. She does a great job with Haute Couture. She doesn't need to scream. I love that these things are wearable, that they're simple, that I hope that they're also beautifully made because they should be handmade because they are Haute Couture. And I love the fact that Haute Couture is not being given that tacky, over the top, it's haute couture, so let's make it crazy, you know? Like we've seen that for decades now. It's enough. I love to have pieces like this that are wearable, comfortable, classy, elegant. Coco Chanel could have designed this if she were alive today. I'm not joking, you guys. Something very, very Chanel. And I applaud Virginie Viard for being able to connect to the DNA of Chanel. She really does this, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. She does this better than Karl did. You know, Karl had a lot of his ego infused in what he did for Chanel. He wanted you to know this is Karl Lagerfeld for Chanel. And I like the fact that Virginie puts herself aside and she's like, no, respecting Coco. I'm channeling Coco. I just channel her. Look at this beautiful pink. Reminds me of my 22 bag that I had to bring back, unfortunately, because Chanel produced it so cheaply. Yeah, that was not a haute couture piece. That was a pret-a-porter piece, the bag. So we're having issues with pret-a-porter as opposed to haute couture. Pret-a-porter quality being very, very low as of late, while haute couture seems amazing. Yes, these patterns are a bit much, and you know, I'm not a big fan of sequins, but it kind of works for me. This is elegant. The low hanging buttons. Look at this red. It's like this velvety, but also, what was it? Like a silky taffeta moment. This is a beautiful green, giving me very, very late 50s vibes. The shoulder, off the shoulder. Look at the tailoring of this thing. This is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Super simple. just like Coco Chanel would have designed it. It doesn't try too hard, it's effortless and it flows. You guys, this is a good collection. It's clean, but it has sophistication, savoir-faire. Look at this, so classy, you guys. And the knees are covered, beautiful. Look at this little moment here of the shoulder. If you know, you know, honey. This velvet, look how it absorbs light. It's like a black hole. Beautiful, just beautiful. This is more of an evening dress, also very Chanel. This model is gorgeous, by the way. Again, sequins, okay, they can't let go of these sequins, but at least, you know, they're not implemented in some crazy over-the-top dress that you can't walk in. I'm looking at you, Balenciaga, Haute Couture. And this is another material, interesting that Virginie uses this quite often, these kind of floral patterns that have a sheen to them, especially in the silver version. Now in the pink version, not so much so, but very 80s. Do you see the ornamental parts of the dresses, like on the pink one we just saw, that collier that resembled the 1932 platinum and diamonds collection that Coco did? So they're referencing that directly. So we're referencing the 30s, which is also something very typical that would happen in the 80s. You know, the 80s were referencing a lot of different decades. The 80s were very eclectic in meshing up all the decades together. We had the 40s in the 80s, the 30s, the 70s even, the 50s and the 60s. And that's happening here as well. We have a little bit of a 60s moment with these little dresses, but also with the imperial cut, you know, very Josephine of Napoleon Bonaparte, the imperial dress style that they had back in the day. That low waist, so Coco in the 20s and early 30s. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. And even this is an interesting silhouette. Look how they tied this corpetto, this top part, and then they kind of just like attached to it the actual skirt. Really beautiful. This is a little bit less fitting because in the waistline it's kind of very floppy, which Virginie seems to really like to do a lot. I think she does that. Maybe she has, you know, she wants to hide her belly, and so she kind of designs it. So I can see how this can work really well for a lady that, you know, wants to cover that part up a little bit more and make it more loose and not too tight. That's very, very practical if you think about it. She knows the female anatomy and she knows how to dress it. This black with the chiffon mixed with a little glitz and glamour in the pants. Pants mixed with skirts, love it. This is a classic. Look at those camellias on the chest. Gorgeous, gorgeous. This is a classic Chanel. Remember the advertisement that Coco Chanel did, dressed in similar dress to this in the 30s. She was her own model for Chanel No. 5. Well, that's what they're referencing with that dress. This is a beautiful piece, one of my favorites actually. And not this one, the one before, the black chiffon. Now this one, at first I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a bit too much. But then when I looked at it again, I was like, actually really interesting. Not feeling too much those V vibes pointing at the, you know, Mumu moment. Yeah, sequins, they can keep the sequins. Okay, now they took their token model that they take every year, you know, the one that has the most beautiful female body of them all, the most curvaceous one. I guess for Chanel standards, they think she's fat and they're doing something really cool. Look, we're giving the fat model this season the wedding dress. Obviously, I do not think she's fat at all. I think she's the only one that looks really healthy and really, really beautiful and sexy and curvaceous. But Chanel uses her as a token model. The wedding dress, however, again, they always ill-fit her. They always try to fit her to hide her curves. Even in the wedding dress, they dressed her wrongly. They should have enhanced and emphasized her curves. But then again, you can see even on the other models that have no chests or breasts, even there, Chanel always hides the form. You know, Chanel always tries to kind of elongate the form, hide the curves. It's a kind of a typical Chanel thing. So I guess they're also trying to hide the curves of the more healthy looking model, but it doesn't do her justice. Here's Virginie. This time at least she actually did not run away immediately. She's actually walking. Usually she enters and says, oh my God, wrong place, and then she runs away. But this time they cut her off. Cute hat, says Julie. I love the pink coat. I thought this was really interesting. Yes, very masculine cut. Jason says, yeah, they don't really emphasize the female anatomy as much, but it's very elegant. It's very austere, just like Coco Chanel was. Coco Chanel never went for the curves. She always had very linear, straight cuts. The female body was more about comfort and not so much about trying to flirt with the opposite sex. So the way she would dress a woman would be, and this is Coco's philosophy, she dressed a woman to empower herself. She never dressed a woman in order for that woman to catch a husband, right? She never gave tips to women on how to marry affluently and elegantly. Looking at you, Anna Bay. No, rather the opposite. She would dress a woman to make a woman feel like she on her own can achieve anything. She doesn't need a man. And that's the way Coco Chanel dressed. And I love the fact that Virginie Viard implements that in the creations for her models, for her designs. I think that is beautiful, and I think it works. And I feel the Coco DNA. Love DIY says, I really want a big black hat from this collection. Comalita says, I have a straight cut body, so thank you, Coco, for showing me some love. I'm telling you, I liked this show. I like these pieces, most of them. Not all of them, but you know what? Like almost all of them. You know, I think there's a lot of class and elegance in this collection. Beautiful mix of sober hues, like from black to really beautiful, colorful pieces, and also a nice blend and mix of muted colors. So there's a little bit for everyone. And yet, the collection in its entirety looks very cohesive. It doesn't clash against each other, the pieces. Like, put together, they have enough variety to suit every flavor and taste you might have, but at the same time, it's a beautifully cohesive collection with enough individuality and difference between every single individual piece. Oh, Jack says, I like that they had a guy wearing a tweed jacket at the end, even though it wasn't the best design they can do. Well, what are we talking about here? A guy? Where? The last model was the wedding dress. Oh, you mean the musician guy and the choreographer? What was he? Or the artist? When they walked together with Virginie? Oh, the lines. The guy who walked with Virginie. Lines. I love clothes that highlight your style and intelligence as opposed to your sexuality, but that's just me. So at the end of the show, Jason, so the guy with the pilot jacket, that was the musician. What's his name? I always forget his name. He's French. He kind of does, for Chanel shows, like he does the music. Sometimes he does DJ for them. He creates music as well for Chanel. And the other guy that did not have the sequenced jacket, he was, I think, the artist who did the sculptural installations for the fashion show. Yeah, those were the two gentlemen that were with Virginie at the end. Many are classic past styles always come back. And Coco always says it, style is forever, right? Sébastien Tellier, thank you so much, Kev. That's the name of the gentleman with the sequin jacket. Sébastien Tellier, or Sébastien, or Sebastian Tellier. That's the guy with the colorful glitzy jacket. That's the musician. Seabury says, I think it's silly to hide curves. Men don't hide shoulders. Women don't hide shoulders either. You can't really hide shoulders, Seabreeze, because clothes hang off of shoulders. So you always have shoulders visible. If clothes would hang off of breasts, you would always see breasts. Some clothes hang off of breasts, in which case you do see them. But if the clothes hang off of shoulders, of course you see the shoulder. You could have a hoodie, and if you make the hoodie hang off the head, you place the hoodie, the Jedi robe that always has that big hoodie. That's the top part of your body. So if you make a garment hang off the head, like a hoodie, then you're going to emphasize the head, and you're not going to see the shoulders anymore. So men don't always show shoulders. Every human being shows shoulders if the garment hangs off the shoulders, hangs on, lays on the shoulders. So it's about levels. Where do you want to let it lay? You want a dress that ends here and is just attached to the breast area, you're going to emphasize on the breast. If you have a dress that ends here, covers the shoulders like my shirt, the whole thing hangs on my shoulders. So you're going to see my shoulders. Even though I don't have broad shoulders anyway, but you see my shoulders. If this were a hoodie and it was here, you would not see the shoulders anymore. So it's just I think it's a physical thing. You know what I mean? Danny's like, on me, it's all breasts. Unfortunately. Oh, honey, beautifully voluptuous. Beautifully voluptuous. Seabury says, my point is, it's more about shaming women for looking like women, but we don't shame men for looking stereotypically male. But what is a stereotypically male look? Like, faded haircut, short hair, shoulder. I don't know I don't know what is typically male, because listen, I'm way beyond those limitations. And quite frankly, Seabreeze, the ladies that I've seen on the runway, they're beautifully feminine to me. They're gorgeously feminine. They're wonderfully attractive. They're stimulating. The way that they're dressed stimulates me. It makes me want to get to know them. So I wouldn't say that any of those outfits on this runway were in any sort of way demeaning. Not at all. I wouldn't say that. It was more about hiding curves on the curvy model. She couldn't have to. Oh, she shouldn't have to. Seabreeze, there I completely agree with you. But this Seabreeze, this I think is a problem of their tailoring rather than of their intentions. Because what I think Chanel, the brand, struggles with is finding a language that would suit that type of physique, taking in consideration the stylistic codes of Coco Chanel. Because don't forget this, Seabreeze. Coco Chanel is a woman, not a man designing for women. It's a woman designing for women. But first and foremost, Coco Chanel always designed for herself. So she always designed for herself. And in every interview, she would also always say, in the past, she said, when I designed hats, everybody wanted my hats. And then I started selling them to others. Then I started designing my own clothes made out of jersey, just for me. And I would take, the jackets from the British military or from the British noble people or horse riders, and I would just wear their jackets for myself. And then the other women would ask me, where did you get that jacket from? And I want that jacket. And so I started designing for other women as well. So she would always say that she designed first and foremost for herself. And how did Coco Chanel look like? Coco Chanel was very dry built. And that's what she tailored to her own self. And then she adapted that a little bit to other types of female bodies. But she always began with herself. She designed clothes to be comfortable for herself. And then she adapted that to create comfortable, elegant clothes for other women too. Coco Chanel never played that game of like what Donatella Versace would do, enhancing the sex appeal. Coco would tone that rather down. That was her personal choice. She felt more comfortable like that. And she thought, well, if I make it for myself only, I'm fine with that. But other women keep asking me to make these same clothes for them as well. And this is how the Chanel brand was born and how it grew with time. So we are at a point now where Virginie Viard, I think, very well understood that particular stylistic code and genre of Coco Chanel. And she is beautifully mastering that. Now, obviously, when they give her, a task like designing for a more voluptuous body, I believe that Virginie Viard would be very well capable of designing a more curvaceous piece. But I think what she is struggling with is trying to combine the codes of Coco Chanel and the modern day codes of what is deemed, appealing, sexy, or whatever. So she could work on that a bit more. She could definitely develop that a bit more, that concept a bit more. She is lacking in that department in terms of creativity. You know, it's the outmoded idea that there's only one fashionable body, tall and willowy. I've been both, and both can look good. Both can totally look good, but I repeat, this is Coco Chanel. Her choice. She designs for herself, you know? And that's okay too. That's okay too. Just saying. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you like the show? Did you not like the show? And never give up on love. Subscribe.